I gave my husband permission to F another woman. My husband Jay waited until we were watching TV on a random night to destroy our marriage. I want to sleep with other women, he said, and he didn't even pause the show when he said it. I turned to look at him thinking he was joking. He wasn't. His face was completely serious. I love you and I want to stay married to you, he continued. But I also want the freedom to be with other women sometimes. I think I deserve that. I felt something snap inside my chest, but it wasn't sadness. It was something colder. Something that told me this marriage died the second those words left his mouth. You want permission to cheat, I said slowly. It's not cheating if you say yes. He smiled at me. He really thought he was being reasonable by having this mature conversation with me instead of sneaking around. Other couples do this all the time, he added. We could do it too, if you're open-minded. I stared at him for a long time, trying to figure out how this was the same man I'd given 5 years of my life to. I'm open-minded, I said. His whole face lit up and he kissed me on the forehead. You're the coolest wife ever. I mean that. Thank you. I smiled at him and held his hand and let him think he'd won. But I was already planning his defeat. I started making calls that night looking for someone who could destroy a man from the inside out. I needed beautiful, crazy, and willing to ruin his life. Jay thought he married a pushover who would let him have his fun while she sat at home waiting. He had no idea he married someone who would make him regret ever opening his mouth. I'll update you guys after my plans. Something tells me this is about to get interesting. That night, I lay in bed next to Jay while he snored peacefully. He had no trouble sleeping. Why would he? He just got permission from his wife to sleep with other women. His life was perfect. I stared at the ceiling for hours trying to figure out my next move. Divorce was obvious. I could file tomorrow and take half of everything and be done with him, but that didn't feel like enough. He would move on, find some other woman to charm, tell his friends his ex-wife was crazy and controlling and that's why he needed freedom. He would learn nothing. He would suffer nothing. And I would just be another bitter ex-wife starting over while he lived his best life. No. I needed him to lose more than a marriage. I needed him to lose his sanity, his peace, his sense of safety. I needed him to experience what it felt like to be trapped with someone who made his life miserable. And then I realized something. Jay wanted other women. So I would give him one. The wrong one. The kind of woman who seems perfect at first, and then slowly reveals herself to be an absolute nightmare. The kind of woman who doesn't let go. Who shows up everywhere. Who makes a man wish he had never spoken to her in the first place. I smiled in the dark for the first time since he opened his mouth. Jay wanted to play games. Fine. I would show him how games are really played. The next morning I called my friend Dana. Dana knew everyone. She was the kind of person who collected people and always had someone for whatever you needed. A good contractor. A cheap lawyer. A girl who could get you into any club in the city. I told her I needed someone specific. What kind of specific? She asked. Beautiful, I said. The kind of beautiful that makes men stupid. And a little bit crazy. The kind of crazy that doesn't show up right away, but once it does, you can't escape it. Dana was quiet for a second. What exactly are you planning? My husband wants to sleep with other women. I'm going to find him one he'll never forget. She laughed. Oh, I have some ideas. Let me make some calls. 2 days later, Dana sent me a list of 5 names. Women she knew who fit the profile. Women who had been burned by men before, and would love the chance to return the favor. I set up interviews at a coffee shop across town where nobody would recognize me. I told each of them to show up at different times. I wasn't sure what I was looking for exactly, but I figured I would know it when I saw it. The first woman was pretty, but too nervous. She kept apologizing for things that didn't need apologies. She would crack under pressure. The second woman was angry. Too angry. She started ranting about her ex before I even finished explaining what I needed. She would blow the whole thing up before Jay even got hooked. The third woman was too nice. She said she wasn't sure she could actually hurt someone even if they deserved it. I thanked her for her time and crossed her off the list. The fourth woman didn't show up at all. I was starting to think this plan was stupid, that I should just file for divorce and move on with my life. And then the fifth woman walked in. She was wearing a simple black dress and heels that clicked on the floor with every step. Every man in that coffee shop turned to look at her. She didn't notice them. Or maybe she did and just didn't care. She sat down across from me and smiled. You must be Viola, she said. I'm Natalie. I knew within 30 seconds that I had found exactly what I was looking for. Natalie was beautiful in a way that felt dangerous. The kind of beautiful that made you want to look away, but you couldn't. She had long dark hair and green eyes and a smile that could mean anything. But it wasn't just her looks. It was the way she talked. Calm. Controlled. Every word of hers was chosen carefully. Dana told me you have a husband problem, she said. Something like that. Tell me everything. So I did. I told her about Jay and his request. About how he thanked me for being cool. About how he had no idea his cool wife was sitting in a coffee shop interviewing women to ruin his life. Natalie listened without interrupting. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair and crossed her legs. Men like your husband are my favorite kind, she said. They think they're so smart, so charming. They think they can have everything they want without consequences. She tilted her head slightly. I love showing them how wrong they are. I felt a chill run down my spine. The good kind. What happened to you? I asked. Who said anything happened to me? You don't hate men like this without a reason. Natalie smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Let's just say I had a Jay once. He taught me a lot about how men operate, and I've been returning the favor ever since. I believed her. This wasn't a woman who was pretending to be tough. This was a woman who had been through something and came out the other side sharper, colder, ready. I explained the plan. Seduce him at a bar. Make him think he hit the jackpot. Be fun and easy and perfect at first. Let him get comfortable. Let him brag to his wife about his amazing new situation. And then flip the switch. Go crazy. Show up everywhere. Text constantly. Threaten. Cry. Make his life so miserable he can't eat or sleep or think about anything except how to escape. How crazy do you want me to go? Natalie asked. I want him to regret ever meeting you. I want him to wish he had never asked me for permission in the first place. I want him to lose everything. Natalie nodded slowly. I can do that. There's one more thing, I said. When this is all over, I want to be there for the finale. I want him to know I did this. I want to see his face when he realizes his cool wife destroyed his entire life. Natalie smiled again. This time it reached her eyes. I like you, Viola. This is going to be fun. I pulled out my phone and showed her a photo of Jay. She studied it for a moment. He's cute, she said, in a boring kind of way. Men like this always think they're more interesting than they are. I gave her the address of the bar I knew he'd be at on Friday night around 9. He goes there with his friends every week. Friday it is. She walked out of that coffee shop and every man watched her leave. None of them knew they were looking at a weapon. But Jay was about to find out. I had my weapon loaded and ready. Natalie was gorgeous, manipulative, and couldn't wait to destroy a cheater. Jay was about to walk into that bar Friday thinking he was just some lucky guy about to have fun. He had no idea the woman waiting for him was handpicked by his wife. Friday came faster than I expected. I spent the whole day pretending everything was normal. I made dinner, watched TV with Jay, and laughed at his stupid jokes. And then around 8, he stood up and stretched and said he was going out with the guys. Have fun, I said. He kissed me on the cheek and walked out the door. He had no idea what was waiting for him. Natalie walked into the bar around 9 wearing a red dress that hugged every curve she had. Her heels were high and her hair was down, and she looked like she owned the place. Jay was at his usual table with his friends drinking beer and laughing too loud. He noticed her the second she walked in. Every man in that bar noticed her, but she made eye contact with only one of them. She held Jay's gaze for exactly 3 seconds, and then looked away and walked to the bar. She ordered a martini and crossed her legs on the bar stool and waited. Jay lasted about 4 minutes before he was standing next to her. I don't think I've seen you here before, he said. I would have remembered. Natalie turned to face him and smiled slowly. That's your opening line? You would have remembered? I'm just saying you're not exactly forgettable. And you're not exactly subtle. She took a sip of her drink and looked him up and down. But I'll allow it. Jay grinned and leaned against the bar. I'm Jay. Natalie. Can I buy you another drink, Natalie? You can try to impress me with more than just drinks. Jay laughed and signaled the bartender. All right then. What does impress you? Confidence, honesty, a man who knows what he wants and isn't afraid to go after it. Well, lucky for you, I'm all 3 of those things. Are you now? She raised an eyebrow. Prove it. Jay spent the next hour trying to prove it. He told her about his job and made it sound more important than it was. He talked about his car and his apartment and the trip he took to Miami last year. Natalie listened and nodded and asked all the right questions. She made him feel fascinating. She laughed at his jokes like they were actually funny. She touched his arm when he said something she liked. And every time she touched him, Jay leaned in a little closer. So what do you do? He asked her eventually. I'm in freelance. I like the freedom. Freedom is good. I respect that. Do you? You seem like the type who plays it safe. Me? No way. I take risks all the time. Like what? Jay paused and she could see him trying to come up with something impressive. Like coming over here to talk to you. That was a risk. Was it though? You saw a woman sitting alone and you walked over. That's not a risk. That's just being a man with eyes. Okay, fine. What would you consider a risk? Natalie leaned in close enough that he could smell her perfume. Asking me to get out of here with you. That would be a risk. Jay's eyes went wide. Are you serious? I don't know. Are you brave enough to find out? He stared at her for a long moment and she could see the gears turning in his head. He was calculating the odds and weighing the options and trying to figure out if this was really happening. Let's go, he said. Natalie smiled and grabbed her purse. I thought you'd never ask. They didn't make it to his car before he kissed her. He pushed her against the wall outside the bar and kissed her like he had been waiting his whole life for this moment. Natalie kissed him back with equal intensity and ran her fingers through his hair. When they finally pulled apart, Jay was breathing heavy. My place or yours? He asked. Yours is too far. There's a hotel 2 blocks from here. How do you know where I live? I don't. I just know I can't wait that long. They checked into the hotel room and didn't leave until 2 in the morning. Jay drove home with a smile on his face that he couldn't wipe off. He had no idea that Natalie was already texting me every detail. He had no idea that the woman he just slept with was going to ruin his entire life. He thought he had just gotten lucky. He thought he had won the lottery. He walked through our front door humming to himself, and I pretended to be half asleep on the couch. "Hey, baby," I said groggily. "How was your night?" "Amazing. The guys were in great form tonight." "Yeah? What did you guys do?" "Oh, you know, darts, drinks, the usual." He was grinning so hard his face looked like it might split in half. "Actually, I met a woman tonight. Her name is Natalie." "Oh, wow. Tell me about her." "She's incredible, babe. Like, genuinely incredible. Smart, funny, and beautiful. Like, really, really beautiful. The kind of beautiful that makes other women nervous. She sounds great." "She is. And she's into me. Really into me. She couldn't keep her hands off me all night." I kept my face neutral even though I wanted to laugh. "That's exciting." "It is. I honestly can't believe my luck. Most guys would kill to meet a woman like her, but I was the one that got to show her a good time." "You must have made quite an impression." "I think I did. She already wants to see me again." I kissed him on the cheek and went upstairs. I could still smell her perfume on him. The perfume I had helped her pick out. The next 2 weeks were a blur of secret meetings and lies. Jay saw Natalie 4 more times, and each time he came home glowing. He started taking more care with his appearance and going to the gym more often. He bought new cologne and got a haircut. He was trying to impress her, and it was working. She texted him constantly, and he texted back within minutes every single time. "Look at this," he said one night and shoved his phone in my face. "She sent me this just now." It was a photo of Natalie in a black dress standing in front of a mirror. "She's getting ready for our date tomorrow. She wanted my opinion on the dress." "She looks nice." "Nice? She looks like a model. And she's mine." He put his phone away and shook his head in disbelief. "I still can't believe this is my life." He continued. "Natalie is just different from other women. She doesn't nag or complain or make everything into a big deal. She just wants to have fun. No drama, no expectations." "That's great, baby. I'm glad you found someone who makes you happy." "And she's wild too, like really wild. The things she does would make you blush." He laughed and took a bite of his toast. "I feel like I'm living a double life. Stable, loving wife at home and this crazy, passionate thing on the side. It's literally the best of both worlds." "Sounds perfect." "It is perfect. I keep waiting for something to go wrong, but it never does. It's like the universe is finally giving me what I deserve." I smiled and squeezed his hand. "You do deserve to be happy, Jay. That's all I've ever wanted for you." He looked at me with so much love in his eyes that I almost felt bad for what I was about to do. Almost. "You know what I love most about this whole thing?" he said. "You. The fact that you're okay with all of this. Most wives would lose their minds, but you actually want me to be happy. You're 1 in a million, babe. I hit the jackpot twice." "That's sweet of you to say." While Jay was living his fantasy, I was building the case that would end it. I met with my divorce lawyer Ingrid 3 times that month. Her office was cold and clean, and she had the kind of smile that made you glad she was on your side. "Show me what you have," she said during our second meeting. I slid a folder across her desk. Inside were screenshots of every text message between Jay and Natalie, photos he had sent her, hotel receipts I had printed from our joint credit card, a timeline of every night he had told me he was with the guys when he was really with her. Ingrid flipped through the pages and her smile got wider with everyone. He used a joint card for the hotel rooms? 3 times, $200 each time. And these texts? He sent all of these? Every single one. Natalie forwarded them to me after each conversation. "Your husband is an idiot." "I know." Ingrid closed the folder and leaned back in her chair. "With this evidence, we can take him for everything. The house, the savings, his retirement fund. He won't have a leg to stand on. That's what I want. I want him to walk away with nothing. Then that's what we'll do." I met with Natalie the same day at a coffee shop across town. She was wearing jeans and a sweater and looked nothing like the woman who had seduced my husband 2 weeks ago. "He's completely hooked," she said. "He texts me good morning and good night. He talks about taking me on a trip somewhere warm. He's already making plans for the future." "Perfect. Let him keep dreaming." "When do we move to the next phase?" "Soon. I need a few more weeks to finalize everything with my lawyer. And then you flip the switch." Natalie stirred her coffee and smiled. "I've been looking forward to this part. Just remember what we discussed. We're not just breaking his heart. We're breaking his entire life. I want him to feel what it's like to be trapped. I want him to regret ever asking me for permission to cheat." Natalie raised her coffee cup. "To making him regret everything." I clinked my cup against hers. While Jay bragged about his amazing life, I was meeting with my lawyer, finalizing every detail of his destruction. He actually thanked me again for being so understanding. Soon Natalie would flip the switch and show him what happens when you disrespect your wife. He kept calling himself the luckiest man alive. He was about to learn that luck always runs out. Stay tuned for tomorrow's update. After I finalized things with my lawyer, I didn't know when I wanted Natalie to take things up a notch until Jay came home from work. He walked through the door whistling and twirling his keys and grinning like he was God's gift to women everywhere. Something about his stupid face made me want to scream. I hated him. I hated the way he ate and the way he breathed and the way he existed in my space like he deserved to be there. I hated that he got to walk around feeling like the luckiest man alive while I played the role of supportive wife. I was done waiting. I was done being patient. I wanted to watch his perfect little life burn to the ground, and I wanted it to happen now. I excused myself to the bathroom and pulled out my phone. "Start tomorrow," I texted Natalie. "Go nuclear." She replied with a single word. "Finally." The next morning, Jay's phone buzzed once during breakfast, then twice, then 3 times. By the time he finished his coffee, it had buzzed over at 20 times. "Someone's popular," I said without looking up from my newspaper. Jay stared at his phone with his eyebrows scrunched together. "It's Natalie. She's asking why I didn't text her good morning yet. Did you forget? I literally woke up 20 minutes ago." His phone buzzed again, and again, and again. "She seems upset," I said. "I don't understand. She's never been like this before." He started typing a response and his phone buzzed 6 more times before he could finish. I watched him read each message and watched his face change from confused to concerned to something close to scared. "What's she saying?" I asked. "She wants to know where I am. She wants to know who I'm with. She's asking if I still love her." He looked up at me. "We've been seeing each other for 3 weeks. I never said I loved her. Maybe she caught feelings. This is insane. She sent me over 100 texts before I even finished my eggs." His phone started ringing. Natalie's name flashed on the screen. Jay stared at it like it might bite him. "Aren't you going to answer?" I asked. He let it ring. It stopped. Then it started again immediately. And again. And again. Jay finally answered on the 5th call. "Hello?" I could hear Natalie's voice through the phone even from across the table. She was crying. "Why didn't you answer? Why aren't you texting me back? Are you with someone else? Do you not want me anymore?" "Natalie, calm down. I just woke up. I was having breakfast." "With who? Who are you having breakfast with? Is she there? Is your wife there?" "Yes, my wife is here. I live with her. We talked about this." "I can't do this, Jay. I can't share you. I thought I could, but I can't. I need you. I need all of you." Jay stood up and walked into the other room. I could still hear him trying to calm her down. His voice was soft and patient at first, then frustrated, then desperate. He came back 20 minutes later looking like he had aged 5 years. "Everything okay?" I asked sweetly. "Fine. Everything's fine." It was not fine. Over the next 3 days, Natalie sent Jay over 400 text messages. She called him during meetings. She called him during dinner. She called him at 2 in the morning crying about how she couldn't sleep without hearing his voice. Jay started keeping his phone on silent. Then he started leaving it in his car. Then he started flinching every time it made any sound at all. "Maybe you should talk to her," I suggested one night. "Set some boundaries." "I've tried. She doesn't listen. She just cries and says she can't live without me." "That sounds intense." "It's a nightmare. I don't know what happened. She was so cool and laid back, and now she's like a completely different person." I reached over and rubbed his shoulder. "I'm sorry, baby. That must be really stressful." "It is. I think I need to end it." "Are you sure? You seemed so happy with her." "That was before she lost her mind." He put his head in his hands. "How do I even do this? How do I break up with someone who threatens to hurt herself every time I try to leave?" "Just be honest with her. Tell her it's not working out." "You make it sound so simple." "It is simple. You just have to do it." Jay nodded slowly. "You're right. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll meet her somewhere public and end it clean." He had no idea there was no clean ending to this story. Jay met Natalie at a coffee shop the next afternoon. He chose somewhere public because he thought that would keep things calm. He was wrong. Jay sat down across from her and took a deep breath. "We need to talk," he said. Natalie smiled. "I know. I've been thinking about us too. I think we should take things to the next level. I want to meet your friends, your family. I want everyone to know about us." That's actually what I wanted to talk about. "I think we should slow down." "Slow down? Or maybe stop, completely." Natalie's smile disappeared. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying this isn't working for me anymore. You're a great person, but the texting and the calls and the intensity, it's too much. I need some space." "Space." She repeated the word like she didn't understand it. "You want space from me. I think it's for the best." Natalie was quiet for a long moment. Then she started laughing. Not a happy laugh. A broken laugh. The kind of laugh that makes everyone in a coffee shop turn and stare. "You think you can just throw me away?" she said. "After everything we shared? After everything you promised me? I never promised you anything. You told me I was special. You told me you'd never met anyone like me. You told me you were falling for me. I was caught up in the moment. I didn't mean... You didn't mean it? Her voice was getting louder. You didn't mean it? Natalie, please keep your voice down. Don't tell me to keep my voice down. Don't you dare tell me to keep my voice down. She stood up so fast her chair fell over. You used me. You made me fall in love with you and now you want to throw me away like garbage. That's not what I'm doing. Then what are you doing, Jay? Explain it to me. Make me understand why the man who couldn't keep his hands off me 2 weeks ago suddenly wants space. Jay looked around the coffee shop. Everyone was watching. His face was bright red. Can we please talk about this somewhere private? No. We can talk about it right here. Right now. In front of everyone. She grabbed his arm. You don't get to do this to me. You don't get to make me love you and then disappear. I won't let you. Natalie, let go of me. No. Let go of me right now. Or what? She was screaming now. Full volume. Tears streaming down her face. What are you going to do, Jay? Hit me? Call the cops? Go ahead. Tell them your side of the story. Tell them how you seduced me and used me and threw me away when you got bored. Jay yanked his arm free and practically ran out of the coffee shop. Natalie stood there watching him go with mascara running down her cheeks. Then she turned to the crowd that had gathered and smiled through her tears. Don't worry, everyone. He'll come back. They always come back. He did not come back, but Natalie came to him. She showed up at his office the next day. Jay was in a meeting with his boss and 3 coworkers when the receptionist knocked on the conference room door. There's a woman here to see you, she said to Jay. She says it's urgent. Jay's face went pale. Tell her I'm busy. I tried. She won't leave. She's making a scene in the lobby. Jay excused himself and walked to the front of the building. Natalie was standing by the reception desk holding a bouquet of flowers and a teddy bear. Surprise, baby, she said when she saw him. I wanted to apologize for yesterday. I brought you presents. You can't be here, Jay whispered. This is my job. I know. I wanted your coworkers to see how much I love you. She held up the flowers. These are your favorite, right? Yellow roses? I don't have a favorite flower. Please leave. Not until you forgive me. Not until you take me back. Natalie, I'm not taking you back. It's over. Please just go. Her face twisted into something ugly. You're really doing this? Here? In front of everyone? You're the one who showed up at my job. Because you won't answer my calls. Because you blocked my number. Because you're trying to pretend I don't exist. She threw the flowers on the ground. But I do exist, Jay. And I'm not going anywhere. She turned to the receptionist. Did you know your coworker is a liar and a cheater? Did you know he promised to leave his wife for me and then changed his mind? Jay grabbed her arm and pulled her toward the door. That's not true. None of that is true. Don't touch me. She yanked away from him. Don't you ever touch me again. She stormed out of the building and Jay stood there trying to catch his breath. His boss appeared behind him. What the hell was that? His boss asked. Nothing, just a misunderstanding. That didn't look like nothing. That looked like a lawsuit waiting to happen. It won't happen again, I promise. But it did happen again, and again, and again. Natalie showed up at Jay's gym the next morning. She told everyone in the locker room that they were engaged. She showed up at his favorite restaurant and cried to the waitress about how he had broken her heart. She found his friends on social media and messaged every single one of them with photos of them together. She posted videos on her Instagram of herself crying and talking about how the love of her life had abandoned her. She didn't use his name, but she tagged the location of his office and his gym, and even our neighborhood. People started recognizing him. Strangers would stop him on the street and ask if he was the guy from those videos. His coworkers whispered behind his back. His gym buddies avoided eye contact. His whole life became a circus, and he was the clown at the center of it. One night he came home and his car was destroyed. Someone had keyed the word liar into the driver's side door and slashed all 4 tires. Jay stood in the driveway staring at the damage with his mouth hanging open. Oh my God, I said when I came outside. What happened? Natalie. Natalie happened. How do you know it was her? Who else would it be? He kicked the flat tire and yelled at the sky. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. Did you call the police? And tell them what? That my side piece went crazy and destroyed my car? He scoffed. I'm trapped. I'm completely trapped. I rubbed his back and made sympathetic noises. I'm so sorry, baby. This must be so hard for you. You have no idea. Is there anything I can do to help? He looked at me with exhaustion in his eyes. Just be patient with me. I know I haven't been myself lately. This whole situation is just... He couldn't even finish the sentence. Take all the time you need, I said. I'm not going anywhere. That night, I made him his favorite dinner and poured him a glass of wine and asked him sweetly over dessert why he didn't see his girlfriend anymore. She really seems to miss you, baby. All those texts and calls. She must really care about you. Jay's fork froze halfway to his mouth. That's not funny. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just saying she's clearly very passionate about your relationship. There is no relationship. She's insane. She's ruining my life. But you liked her so much before. What changed? He stared at me like he was trying to figure out if I was being serious. Everything changed. She changed. She went from cool and fun to completely psychotic overnight. That must be so confusing for you. It is. It really is. I reached across the table and held his hand. Well, I'm here for you. Whatever you need. We'll get through this together. He squeezed my hand back and thanked me for being so understanding. He had no idea that every text Natalie sent him, she sent me first for approval. He had no idea that every scene she caused was choreographed down to the last tear. He had no idea that the woman comforting him at dinner was the same woman who had planned his complete destruction. I told Natalie it was time for the final phase. We were going to humiliate Jay in front of everyone he loved. He was begging me for help, not knowing I built this nightmare around him with my own hands. His parents' dinner party would be the last time he ever felt like a respected man in that family. Jay wanted freedom from our boring marriage so badly. I was about to give him more freedom than he could ever handle. I told Natalie it was time for the final phase. Jay's parents hosted a dinner party every year on the first Saturday of October. They invited the whole family plus a few close friends. His mother cooked for 3 days straight. His father set up the backyard with string lights and rented tables. It was their thing, their tradition. The one night a year when everyone came together and pretended to like each other. I had been going to these dinners for 5 years. I knew exactly where the house was. I knew exactly when everyone would arrive. I knew exactly how to make sure Natalie had all the information she needed. 3 days before the party, I met Natalie at our usual coffee shop. I slid a piece of paper across the table with the address written on it. Saturday night, I said. Everyone will be there by 7. His parents, his brother, his aunts and uncles and cousins. About 30 people total. Natalie picked up the paper and smiled. The whole family. The whole family. And they have no idea what's coming. When should I arrive? 8:30. Give everyone time to eat and drink and get comfortable. Let them think the night is going perfectly, and then you walk in and burn it all down. Natalie tucked the paper into her purse. What's the play? Pregnant girlfriend who was promised a future. He told you he was leaving his wife. He told you he loved you. He told you the baby would change everything. And then he ghosted you. And you? I'll be the shocked wife who had no idea any of this was happening. At least until the very end. Natalie raised an eyebrow. You're going to reveal yourself? That's the whole point. I want him to know. I want him to look at me and realize that the cool wife he thought he had been playing this whole time was actually playing him. That's cold. He deserves cold. Natalie smiled and finished her coffee. Saturday at 8:30. I'll be there. She walked out, and I sat there for another hour imagining the look on Jay's face when his world came crashing down. Saturday came, and Jay spent the whole morning getting ready. He ironed his best shirt and polished his shoes and practiced his smile in the mirror. He had no idea this would be the last family dinner he would ever be welcome at. We drove to his parents' house together. His hand was on my knee the whole way, and he kept talking about how nice it was going to be. How he had been stressed lately, and he needed this. How being around family always reminded him what was important. I nodded and smiled and counted down the hours. The party was exactly what I expected. His mother had made enough food to feed an army. His father was already 3 beers deep and telling the same stories he told every year. His brother Anton was showing off pictures of his new boat. His aunts were gossiping in the corner, and his cousins were playing cards at the kids' table, even though most of them were in their 20s. Jay worked the room like a politician. He shook hands and kissed cheeks and laughed at jokes that weren't funny. He was charming and likable, and everyone adored him. I stood by the punch bowl and watched him perform. I wondered how many of these people would still adore him in 2 hours. By 8 o'clock, everyone had eaten, and the energy in the room was warm and relaxed. Jay's mother was bringing out dessert. His father was setting up the projector for his annual slideshow of family photos. Jay was sitting on the couch between his brother and his uncle telling some story about a client at work. He looked happy. Genuinely happy. Like he had forgotten all about Natalie and the chaos of the past few weeks. Like he thought the storm had passed and he was safe now. I checked my phone. 8:27. 3 more minutes. I excused myself to use the bathroom and locked myself in. I stared at my reflection in the mirror and took a deep breath. This was it. 5 years of marriage. 5 years of giving everything I had to a man who asked me for permission to cheat. 5 years that ended with him thanking me for being cool while he planned to use me as a safety net. I heard the doorbell ring at exactly 8:30. Natalie was nothing if not punctual. I came out of the bathroom just in time to see Jay's mother open the front door. Natalie stood on the porch in a tight black dress that showed off a small but visible baby bump. She had a pillow stuffed under there. We had practiced it together. She looked stunning and devastated and absolutely unhinged all at the same time. "Can I help you?" Jay's mother asked. "Hi, Mrs. Wallace. I'm Natalie. I'm here to see Jay." The room went quiet. Every head turned toward the door. Jay's face went white. "Natalie," he said. His voice cracked on her name. What are you doing here? I needed to see you, baby. You haven't been returning my calls. She pushed past his mother and walked into the living room. Her eyes scanned the crowd and landed on me. Oh, your wife is here. Hi, Viola. I've heard so much about you. I played my part perfectly. Who is this Jay? Nobody. She's nobody. Natalie, you need to leave right now. Nobody? Natalie's voice broke. I'm nobody? After everything we shared? After everything you promised me? Jay's father stood up from his chair. Son, what is going on here? Dad, it's nothing. She's just some crazy woman who's been stalking me. I'm calling the police. Stalking you? Natalie laughed bitterly. Is that what you're calling it now? Because that's not what you called it when you were sneaking out of your house to meet me at hotels. That's not what you called it when you told me you loved me. When you told me you were going to leave your wife for me. Jay's mother put her hand over her heart. Jay, is this true? No, absolutely not. She's lying. She's insane. I have proof, Natalie said. She pulled out her phone and held it up. I have every text message, every photo, every voicemail you left me at 2 a.m. telling me how much you missed me. She started reading out loud. I can't stop thinking about you. My wife has no idea. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. I wish I had met you first. Jay lunged for the phone, but his brother grabbed him and held him back. Let her talk, Anton said. His voice was cold. I want to hear this. Anton, please. She's making this up. Then why do you look like you're about to pass out? Natalie continued reading. I'm going to leave her soon. I just need time. We'll be together. I promise. You and me and our baby. Jay's aunt gasped. Baby? What baby? Natalie put her hand on her stomach. The fake bump pressed against her dress. I'm pregnant, she said. 9 weeks. Jay is the father. He told me he was going to leave his wife and raise this baby with me. But then he stopped returning my calls. He blocked my number. He pretended like I didn't exist. The room exploded. Jay's mother started crying. His father was yelling about how he didn't raise his son to be a cheater. His aunts were whispering furiously to each other. His cousins had abandoned their card game and were filming everything on their phones. This isn't happening, Jay kept saying. This isn't happening. She's lying. She's crazy. Someone please believe me. I believe you, his uncle said. Like I believed your brother when he said the same thing about his first wife. Like I believed your father when he said the same thing about the secretary. You Wallace men are all the same. You can't keep your pants zipped and then you blame the women for being crazy. Uncle Dario, this is different. It's not different. It's never different. Natalie was still standing in the middle of the room with tears streaming down her face. I gave you everything, she said to Jay. I believed every word you said. And you threw me away like garbage. You threw our baby away like garbage. There is no baby, Jay shouted. You're not pregnant. This is all fake. You're doing this to ruin my life. Why would I ruin my own life just to hurt you? I'm pregnant, Jay. I took 3 tests. I went to the doctor. This is real. This is happening. And you need to take responsibility. Jay's mother stepped forward. Her face was wet with tears and her hands were shaking. Is this true, Jay? Did you cheat on Viola? Did you get this woman pregnant? Mom, please. You know me. You know I would never. I don't know anything anymore. I don't know who you are. The son I raised would never do something like this. I'm the same person I've always been. No. The son I raised had integrity. The son I raised respected his wife. The son I raised would look me in the eye and tell me the truth. She grabbed his face with both hands. Look at me, Jay. Look at me and tell me the truth. Did you cheat on Viola? Jay's mouth opened. Nothing came out. His silence was louder than any confession. His mother dropped her hands and stepped back. Oh my God, she whispered. Oh my God, it's true. Mom, don't. She held up her hand. Don't say another word to me. I can't even look at you right now. She walked out of the room and his father followed her. I could hear her sobbing in the kitchen. Jay stood there with his whole family staring at him like he was a stranger. His brother wouldn't look at him. His aunts were shaking their heads in disgust. His cousins were still filming. And Natalie was standing in the middle of it all with her hand on her fake baby bump and tears running down her face. I trusted you, she said quietly. I trusted you and you destroyed me. Natalie, please, just stop. Please, just stop. I can't stop. I can't stop thinking about you. I can't stop loving you. Even after everything you did to me, I still love you. What does that say about me? What kind of pathetic person falls in love with a married man and then begs him to love her back? She turned to face me. And you. Poor Viola. You had no idea, did you? You had no idea your husband was sneaking around behind your back, making plans with another woman, telling her he was going to leave you. You trusted him and he betrayed you. Just like he betrayed me. I let myself cry. Real tears. Not because I was sad, but because this was the moment I had been waiting for. I didn't know. I said. My voice was small and broken. I didn't know about any of this. Of course you didn't. Men like Jay are good at hiding things. They're good at lying and manipulating and making you feel like you're the crazy one. But you're not crazy, Viola. I'm not crazy. He's the one who did this. He's the one who destroyed both of us. Jay grabbed Natalie's arm. Stop it. Stop talking to her. Stop talking to anyone. You've done enough damage. Let go of me. Not until you admit you're lying. Not until you tell everyone the truth. I am telling the truth. Everything I said is true. You cheated on your wife. You got me pregnant. You promised me a future and then you disappeared. The baby isn't real. I know it isn't real. You're wearing a pillow under your dress. Natalie slapped him so hard the sound echoed through the room. How dare you, she screamed. How dare you accuse me of faking a pregnancy? What kind of monster do you think I am? The kind of monster who shows up at a family dinner to ruin my life. You ruined your own life, Jay. You ruined it the moment you decided to cheat on your wife. I'm just making sure everyone knows what kind of man you really are. The room was chaos. Everyone was yelling. Jay's father came back from the kitchen shouting about how Jay had disgraced the family. And Jay was standing in the middle of it all looking like his whole world had collapsed around him. Because it had. Viola, he said. He turned to me with desperation in his eyes. Viola, please. You have to believe me. This isn't what it looks like. She's crazy. She's been stalking me for weeks. Please, baby. Please say something. I looked at him for a long moment. At this man I had married 5 years ago. At this man who had asked me for permission to cheat while we were watching TV. At this man who had no idea that the cool wife he thought he had been playing this whole time was actually playing him. I have something to say, I said. The room went quiet. Everyone turned to look at me. Natalie, Jay, his parents, his brother, his aunts and uncles and cousins. 30 pairs of eyes waiting to hear what the betrayed wife had to say. I smiled. I planned the whole thing. The silence that followed was deafening. Jay blinked at me. What? Natalie isn't crazy. She isn't a stalker. She isn't pregnant. She's an actress. I hired her to seduce you and destroy your life. Jay's face went through about 15 different emotions in 3 seconds. Confusion, disbelief, horror, rage, more confusion. That's not possible. It's very possible. Remember that night you came home from the bar telling me about the incredible woman you met? The one who was smart and funny and beautiful? The one you couldn't believe was into you? I walked toward him slowly. I sent her. I told her what bar you'd be at. I told her what time you'd be there. I told her exactly what to say to make you fall for her. No. Yes. Every text she sent you? I approved it first. Every scene she caused at your job and your gym and your favorite restaurant? Planned. Every tear she cried? Fake. The pregnancy? A pillow. The whole thing was fake, Jay. Except for one part. I stopped right in front of him. Close enough to see the sweat on his forehead. Close enough to smell the fear coming off him in waves. The part where you cheated on your wife was real. The part where you used a joint credit card to pay for hotel rooms was real. The part where you bragged to me about how lucky you were to have a cool wife and an amazing girlfriend at the same time? That was very real. And that's the part my divorce lawyer is going to use to take everything you own. Jay's mother had stopped crying. His father had stopped yelling. The whole room was frozen. You did this, Jay whispered. You did all of this. You did this. You asked me for permission to cheat, Jay. You looked me in the eye and told me you wanted to sleep with other women. You thought I was going to sit at home like a good little wife while you had your fun. I shook my head. You married the wrong woman. I don't get sad. I get even. Natalie walked over and stood next to me. She dropped the broken girlfriend act and smiled at Jay with complete satisfaction. It was nice meeting you, Jay. You were even easier to fool than we thought you'd be. She walked out the front door without looking back. Jay stood there with his mouth hanging open and his family staring at him. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. His mother finally broke the silence. Viola, she said. Her voice was strange, not angry, almost impressed. Did you really do all of that? Every single bit of it. Why? Because he deserved it. And because I wanted him to know what it feels like to be played by someone you trust. If they expected me to feel sad or apologize, they were crazy. I picked up my purse from the couch and walked toward the door. I stopped and turned back one last time. The divorce papers will be ready on Monday. I'm taking the house, the car, half of everything you have. And based on what just happened here tonight, I don't think anyone in your family is going to fight me on it. I looked at his parents, his brother, his aunts and uncles. Every single one of them looked at Jay with disgust. Not one of them moved to defend him. Goodbye, Jay. Thanks for asking me for an open marriage. It was the best thing you ever did for me. I walked out of that house and into the cool October air. Behind me, I could hear Jay screaming my name. But I just got in my car and drove away.